an article has been published in the very recent years about Basden's book, Among the Ibos of Nigeria, and this book, published in 1921, is being examined by the author. And I want to show you what not to do, no matter who you are. The abstract explains first that the study views Basden's text as biased, based on racial interest, and observes that superiority complex contributed to the attitude of the whites on the blacks. So that is the abstract. Now, in the introduction, the author says that a closer study of the language of the colonialists, otherwise known as the white men, shows that they are seriously denigrated the blacks, who to them had inferior science without culture, religion, or technology. And he's quoting a passing comment by Basden. And I'm sure that Basden would have regretted that comment to be quoted, because what it said is that that country has been shrouded in mystery. But when he writes that, he means that shrouded in mystery for the whites, for the foreigners, obviously. The second point highlighted by the author of the article is that Basden has a very poor idea about the Igbos. He said, the quote is, "The black man himself doesn't know his own mind. He does the most extraordinary things and cannot explain why he does them." And this is written, yes, but it contradicts the whole of the book written by Basden. Then after that, you have a case for idiosyncrasy, and is quoting different people. Then he looks at methodology, and then results. And the discussion is on page 4 or so, of the article. The discussion offers what he calls an analysis of the book, of Basden's book. And what is said is that Basden is not right in what he says. And he picks an accusation, according to him, that Basden says that they are cannibals among the indigents. And that is interesting. Now you think that it would be an insult. Unfortunately, for the author, he's an Igbo, but he doesn't know. The people of Ngwa, Aba region, some of them were cannibals. It was part of the culture in those days. That is very, very, very long ago, in the olden days. And is explaining why. Now, that chapter, In the Shadow of Death, is reporting Basden's observation of transactions. And then that's another accusation. Basden calls the deity Abwala. And what the author says is that Basden didn't even know how to write Abwala. So instead of AGB, he wrote ABW. What happened is that he wrote what he heard, because at that time there was no standard writing for Igbo. Igbo had not been written, in fact, and Basden was one of the first that studied the language in that book, published 1921. Standard Igbo was only fixed in 1961. So accusing him of not writing properly is neither here nor there. In fact, it's not okay. Another thing is Ebulu Upabi is accusing again Basden of having written the wrong way. Then after that, Basden, in the Shadow of Death, is reporting Basden's observation of transactions. And then that's another accusation. What is said is that Basden didn't even know how to write Abwala. So instead of AGB, he wrote ABW. What happened is that Basden was one of the first that studied the language in that book, published 1921. So accusing him of not writing properly is neither here nor there. In fact, it's not okay. is accusing Basden of having a misunderstanding about Mao, the masquerade, and is quarreling over that. And then after that, he's quoting Basden again and accusing him of denigrating the Igbo culture, calling it primitive. Well, that was the way people were describing Africa those days. That is so long ago. And so you cannot accuse someone today in 2025 or 2019, for that matter, of not knowing how to appreciate, because you are talking about someone at the beginning of the 20th century. It's a long, long while ago. And then he's talking about climate and weather. This, again, is disconcerting. He says that Basden qualifies the Igbo country climate as the white man's grave. And do you know that it was the white man's grave? That's why most of the missionaries that went to Igbo land died shortly after arrival. In fact, at a point, some of them died before ever landing from the boat because of malaria and other tropical diseases that were completely unknown in Europe. So we knew that the people that were collecting slaves, for example, never went into the interior. They were waiting for Ibos to send them slaves so that they will not risk their life. So it's a total lack of appreciation. Then talking about other things. Conclusion, he said that racism has informed most of the negative attitudes that informed some European writers in assessing African literature. Basden lived among the Ibos from 1900 to 1935, and he was among them. He was alone. He was mostly based in Onitsha, but always traveled, and he learned Igbo, and all that he wrote was quite accurate. His observations are continually used by Igbos because they are the first ones about their country to be recorded. And this was not something that was done from afar. So I want to encourage you, if you write something, make sure you know, because today there are many Igbos that don't even know their culture. I'm talking of traditional culture. I am from a very, very traditional Igbo society, and I can tell you that there are many things I know that people don't even know because they lived in urban centers. They were from families of people that were already educated, among the first to be educated. And so you need to know. You need to know. For example, Basden mentions circumcision among the Igbos, and he mentions the fact that babies were circumcised very, very early. Boys were circumcised around the 8th day of their life. I know Nigerians that deny this today, but myself, I know that even at the time I delivered my own children in Enugu, they were all circumcised on the 8th day. In fact, by the hospital. I was automatically invited for circumcision after the birth of my boys. So don't deny what you don't know. Check. And what that unfortunate article has done is to forget about any good thing that was written in that book of Basden. Instead, highlighting that he didn't know how to write Igbo, highlighting the fact that here and there he was passing comments that were just from that time. When you examine a book, try to find what good it brings. Basden books advanced the knowledge a great deal, and this will never be denied.